Really excited, you know, the Tascam, the 8-track, the mixer, and now the 2-track. So let's get on with this mix. Hey guys, Andy Pickering here. On today's video, I'm going to be recording a brand new old song. It's not just because I've run out of material to record, it's because I've actually wanted to re-record this song for a number of years. So the song is called Through and Through, and it was off my 2014 full-length album called When Today Is History, which I'll show you a clip of now.
He's the only one, generations past, not to be a working man. No one understands.
So my issue with this song, like quite a lot of the songs that I did around that time, which is a retrospective kind of opinion, is that I'm dissatisfied with a lot of the programmed drums that I put on there. I actually did an EP last year where I remixed and took the drums out of the sessions, and this particular song, Through and Through, was one that was an outtake that I attempted to remix, but it wasn't quite working, and therefore it didn't get included on the album Bare Essentials. And that's available on my Bandcamp, which is, as I say, remixes all through the analog gear and mixed to tape. This is a song that I hold dearly to my heart because I was really happy with what I was doing. You know, I always thought like how McCartney and Ray Davies and things like that could write a song about a random character, and that's not something that I ever do, really. And I've never done since, but I decided to do it for this one song, and I created a character and I created a little story about, you know, a 20-year-old kid in America of Italian descent who lives on a farm, and he decides he wants to leave his small town and head for the big city to pursue a career in, I don't know, music or film or something bigger than just being like a farmer or a shopkeeper or a mechanic. And it's kind of, I grew up in a village, so I guess it was feeding into a lot of how I grew up. But you know, I just created this character out of nowhere, and I put it into this song. So I've always loved the song, but listening to the programmed drums on my original recording, which there's nothing wrong with it, and a lot of people will probably listen to it and like it. But for me, I want to take it back to the organic, back to, you know, just the guitars and the percussive nature of using real instruments, and that's what I'm going to do today. So I'm going to utilize my analog studio. We're going to go on the 8-track reel-to-reel. We're going to use all the analog outboard. We're going to use the mixing desk. We're going to mix onto the 2-track, but I'm also going to use the VHS to do some bouncing as well. So I'm really looking forward to this one. So let's get into it. Okay, so just before I start the session, I just want to have a quick closer look at some of the equipment that we're going to be using, and just a quick explanation of what I'm sort of going to be doing. So I'm going to be filling up all 8 tracks to start with on this, and I'm going to be using throughout the session my 1176 clone, spring reverb, Pultec clone. They're going to be printed to tape mostly as I'm going along. And so yeah, I'm going to basically have all 8 tracks all done as a mix, as a basic rhythm track with acoustic guitar, percussion, and I think I'm going to add some reverbs as well to just get a nice solid foundation. And then I'm going to mix those onto the VHS, hi-fi VHS, to keep it analog. And then that's going to be mixed back onto fresh tape. Boom, 2 tracks. And then we're going to do piano. So my Beatles Challen piano, the same as the one at Abbey Road, that's going to be recorded. Going to record some organ, bass. I've got my bass player Will, who always plays bass for me whenever I can possibly get him in. So yeah, it's going to be great. And then vocals, and you know, that's going to be that's the basic plan of the track. Now I've just got to put it all together, and then once that's done, I'm going to mix onto my brand new TIAC 32 2B right at the end for your final mixdown. And also going to use this for some tasty tape delay during the session. So yeah, can't wait to get to use that because, like I say, it's brand new. Going on to track 1 here, and we are Gibson acoustic J160E Golden Age project mic, and I'm going to be sitting about here where the camera is, playing a guitar. We're going into channel 1 on there. We've got some tube EQ and some compression, and then we're going straight into track 1. Just there, as you can see. And that is my signal chain. I'm going to grab this mic and I'm going to move it here towards the hallway, because what I'm going to do is then stand behind the mic and do some hand claps, and it's going to be capturing the sound of the hand claps reverberating in the hallway. Okay, so now we've got our guitars and percussion all built up exactly as I want them, all mixed exactly as I want them, and I'm going to record a mix of those, but 100% wet reverb, first onto 7 and then onto 8. They're going to be on the track, and then the full 8 tracks are going to be mixed onto the VHS. So this is the 100% wet reverb coming through there. And that's basically being EQ'd before it hits the reverb, like taking the low end off and then compressing the hell out of it, all buttons in on the 1176. And then I'm going to record that onto the track here, individually on the left and then on the right. Now let's bring in some of that reverb. I mean, you can go absolutely ridiculous with it. You can just get the right blend. Go to VHS. Ahoy there! Right, so here we are. The VHS is now on the meter bridge and everything's set up, ready to do a mix with my 100% wet reverb channels there. Like I say, mix into the VHS. Super transparent. No noise whatsoever, but keeping it analog. So it's all in the family. So I'm going to get on with this mix now, and I'll see you once this is on the tape. Right, we're mixed to VHS now. I'm really happy with it, and I'm just clearing a full pass of tape, all 8 tracks in, just erasing something that was on the tape. So it's always a good idea. With the stereo mix that I've just done, is just going back onto here on a new pass of tape. Here it is. Just there, and it's sounding really nice. So the VHS is now off, it's recorded on the tape, and we're completely ready now to attack all the overdubs. Really happy with the sound I've got off the VHS. It's actually, you know, in a weird way, it's retained more of the quality than probably bouncing down internally, and I certainly wouldn't have been able to do the you know, parallel processing with the amount of tracks that I needed to use. So yeah, I'm really happy with, you know, involving the VHS at this stage. It's the first time I've ever done it like that, and I'm, yeah, very happy. So let's get on with some piano. With my favourite technique, with the microphone down behind the piano, the dynamic microphone, the Electro Voice RE10, and it's going preamp, compression, and on to track 3. And that's it really. I like the sound, the overall EQ and everything that I get from this technique, so I don't need to dial anything in really in terms of EQ. So yeah, it's going for a take. See what the piano's sounding like. Yeah, I love it. Just a simple part really, just clinking away. Right, on for the next overdub. Okay, so I'm going to put some organ down now. So here's the story with the organ. I've got this Vox Continental on like a long-term loan from a good old friend that I used to play in bands with, and he was doing nothing with it. But unfortunately, it's been sat for like 10 years without being used, and it's really crackly. Some of the notes don't come through, and it just needs a good service before I can really use it on recordings. So until then, we're going with an odd, which will be going through the spring reverb, as you can hear now. Nice, so we've got a nice little 4-track arrangement now. We've got the left and right original VHS bounce with all the percussion and the guitars, a piano and an organ. Have a little listen. Original stuff. I'd say it's all coming together nicely. Nice and percussive. Okay, let's check this bass back. Basically DI'd straight in, direct inject, and I had some compression on it, but that is not the fun part. The fun part is what I'm going to do now. So what I'm doing is I'm going to send a direct out of that, and that's going to go out of this amp down here, and basically I'm going to have the two sounds blended together, the DI, which is going to have the nice low tones, and then I'm going to get some character out of this. I'm going to drive it a bit and get a sort of grittier sound, mix them together, then bounce them onto one track. So let's get on with that. Okay, so we've got the original bass and the one from the amp. I'm going to blend those together and bounce them onto 7, and the way I'm going to do that is that I'm sending them to bus number 1, and there's a direct out of bus number 1 coming just here, and my tape machine input 7. And as you can see, they've been bounced down onto 7, and we've got bit more of a characterful bass than just if it was DI'd straight in without doing some parallel amping. We've got a nice solid rhythm track now. Vocal time, so we've got the Electro Voice RE10. I really love this on vocals, and I want to get a double trap vocal just nice and dry and up front before I add effects later. It's going through the preamp on here, coming out of the preamp. It's being compressed on the 1176 clone, and then I'm sending it through the Pultec clone. I always have to say clone because someone's going to go, well, it's not a real Pultec, it's a toy or something. But anyway, that's got tubes on it. I'm not actually EQing it, but it's going through the tubes, and then it's going on to tracks 5 and 6. So let's get on with that. Jonah DeMeo was born Italian, from Texas on the farm near San Angelo. Through and through with you, and it fills me up inside. When I was so young, I dreamed. Okay, here we go. Standard double track vocal on 5 and 6. Compressed on the tape. And he knows his right from wrong. So his mother used to say, one day out the blue, 20 years of age. Okay, so now I'm going to bounce these two onto track 8. And what I'm actually going to do is do a live effect bounced onto the vocal. So it's going to be a double track vocal with effects on it, and I'll show you how I'm going to do the effects now. So basically I've got the lead double track vocals going to bus number 1 and bus number 2. And bus number 2 is what's actually being recorded. So a direct out of bus number 2 is going straight onto track 8 on the tape machine. But bus number 1 is actually going through the tape delay that's going on here. Welcome my new TIAC 32.2B master tape recorder, and that's running at 7.5 inches a second for a longer delay. Then that is going through the EQ to take the low end off and boost a little bit of the pleasing highs on about 10k, and then rolling off the 20k, trying to just create a nice smooth reverb. Then it's going through the reverb, so it goes through the EQ before it hits the reverb, so you're going to get more out of your reverb, no boominess, and then that's being compressed down there. So all of that loop is then coming through onto this fader here, and then that fader is just going to 2. So then remember, we're getting 100% dry just going straight onto the track here, recorded onto number 8, but then we're getting the effects loop 2, and we're getting the perfect blend. So this is what's actually being recorded onto 8, and I actually have the controls here. So if I whip that off, we're completely dry, and then you can get silly with it, of course, but and this is all running in real time, and you see, it would be easy for me to just record the effect onto 7 and bounce all those 3s onto 8, but we need to use it just as a live thing going through the mixer because the bass is on 7 and I haven't got another track to record it onto, so I'm just doing it live and it's all going. This is just running, it's all running in real time, and while we're mixing down onto the 8, there's a few little bits where I'm going to boost the effect in the middle of the song. So let's get on with that. So there's so many points of call, and this is the blend of the wet and dry, and that's just 100% tape delay, and then you can go get the perfect blend between delay and reverb there, and I've got it set probably at about 75% wet. So you get a bit of that kickback, slapback kind of delay sound, but then you get the trail of reverb on the end of it. Love it. Okay, that's the lead vocal bounce down with effects, and then that's going to leave the last two remaining tracks now, 5 and 6, and that is going to be double tracked backing vocal. I've got my tube mic set up. I've got a different mic for the backing vocals. I'm sat kind of about here away from it because I just want a different flavour, a bit more space. The backing vocal part is just giving texture to some of the lyrics, some of the lines that come out. And it's going to be simply compressed and have simply a bit of spring reverb on it. And that's it. And there's, you know, the last two tracks, so there's no more bouncing. It's the full arrangement. I've crammed everything I possibly can onto this 8-track. And I don't think it needs anything else. So let's get on with that.
20 years of age, and much to their dismay, all you have to do fills me up inside.
Right then, so before we go for a mix, let's just do a quick brief overview of everything we've got. So the backing vocals are down now. So pull all the sliders down, we're going on to the main board, the main mix board. So there we go, tracks 1 and 2, the original bounce from the VHS with the acoustics and percussion. Then we got the piano, organ, bass, vocal, and finally the backing vocals.
When I was so young, I dreamed to become something.
Okay, mix time then. So I've got all my levels balanced on here, all my buses balanced. I've basically got 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 3 and 4, 3 and 4, 3 and 4. And the reason why you bus to 2 buses at the same time is because one's left and one's right, which then enables you to use the pan control. And yeah, all my levels are set perfectly level there, and then I've got a perfect level on my master fader there. Then that is coming straight out the back of the mixer into this, and I've got the level set on there. So everything pretty much should be good to go. I'm going to be recording at 15 inches a second because why not use the highest quality possible? Yeah, this is my first proper use, first use in a video. I'm really excited, you know, the Tascam is here. The 8-track, the mixer, and now the 2-track. So let's get on with this mix, and hopefully it's going to sound really cool. So I'm going to patch in the proper audio, the finished track now, which I will have already digitized by the time you're watching this. I'm going to place the camera right above my head, so you're going to get to see me live mix all the little tweaks and muting tracks in and out and things like that. You're going to get to see all that live as you're hearing the finished mix. So without further ado, the track's called Through and Through, and I'm going to hit play and go for it.
This is a speed check from the police.
1, 2, 3.
Here's a story of a boy who had to go from a town that he'd outgrown and headed for LA. Jonah DeMeo was born Italian from Texas on the farm near San Angelo. And always trying hard and raised to carry on. And he knows his right from wrong, so his mother used to say. One day out the blue, 20 years of age, and much to their dismay, he said to everyone, all you have to do is wait to me. I'm through and through with you, and it fills me up inside. When I was so young, I dreamed to become something more than this, and I leave it all behind. He's the only one, generations past, not to be a working man, and no one understands. And all his friends, they say, what will you become? In response, Jonah talks about all there is round here. A farmer, shopkeeper, or mechanic is no fun. I wanna sing my song, so I will disappear. All you have to do is wait to me. I'm through and through with you, and it fills me up inside. When I was so young, I dreamed to become something more than this, and I leave you all behind. Don't get me wrong, I'll miss you all, he said. This will always be my home. All you have to do is wait to me. I'm through and through with you, and it fills me up inside. I was so young, now I dream to become something more than this, and I leave it all
Thought I'd just add in the digital end, which is recording the file in at 9624 into my Cubase, and then I take the raw audio file and master it in isotope ozone. Okay, there we go. Through and through Mark II. Really happy with how it turned out. I know I always say that, but you never know how these things are going to turn out before you start them, really. It's just like a month-long journey of making the video, making the song, and, trusting your instinct as you go through, and just using this as my playground is just like the most satisfying thing, really. I absolutely love coming in here and just making music. I'm so passionate about the analog gear and the sounds that I get. So anyone watching this, you're in my niche. You're searching for analog 4-track tape. That's what we love. That's the world that we're living in. But the greater world, the greater population of people recording in bedrooms don't record like this, and that's what I like. I just love fiddling with knobs. Seriously though, I just love the real interfaces of all this, and I love the fact that my studio does not have a screen there until I mix down, and then I'll plonk my laptop on there, digitize it, master it, and it's done. You know, and all the things that I've led up to that point of all decisions that I've made along the way, slide those faders up, the song's finished because you planned it all already. It was so cool to use techniques like using the VHS and all the bouncing down and things like that. Particularly the tape delay and all the effects that I used on that, which is stuff that I've done in past videos. Bringing all these little techniques together, of course bringing Will in on bass. He always does a great bass line. So if you like my music, please subscribe to these videos and also follow me on Bandcamp. It really does help. And also Pro Vintage Keys, that's a keyboard remote recording service right from this room. The piano, the organs, whatever you want, you can get me playing on your records all through the magic of the internet. Okay, that's it for today, and thanks for watching if you made it this far. I'll see you again soon. Cheers, bye.